向左避让变道。
喂，我是吧？对。
请控制方向盘。
那算人机共驾呀。
端到端辅助驾驶已退出接管。
9 vehicles, 6 cities. The most detailed horizontal comparison evaluation of urban assistant driving across the entire network. Each vehicle ran 620 kilometers with urban assistant driving enabled, with the entire test video recorded, and detailed data comparison were compiled. For those brands claiming their urban assistant driving is super anthropometric, are they really up to the mark? We have tested everything in traditional brands, new forces and new energy brands and the traditional major manufacturers. The 6 cities include Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Suzhou, as well as the 3rd and 4th tier cities that everyone is also concerned about, Yixing and Liyang, which have a rural road. This video brings you a full road conditions evaluation of these 9 cars. And let's first look at the ranking. Does this result match your impression of those cars? And next, we will divide it into 4 parts and talk to you in detail about their performance. First of all, I'd like to say that everyone can really rest assured now, as available nationwide has become a reality, and even 3rd and 4th tier cities like Yixing and Liyang in China does not affect the activation of the function. And let's take a look at the total functional coverage over the entire 620.1 kilometers journey, including roundabouts, national roads, rural roads. The availability of the 9 vehicle urban assistant driving function is shown in the figure below. We have listed 10 scenarios to illustrate where the 9 car is not available and where it can operate smoothly. First is a roundabout, and this roundabout scenario is equipped with the traffic lights. The markings instance the roundabout are relatively complex, with short curves and large curvatures. Multi-vehicle dynamic aim, continuous lane changes required, and traffic light recognitions needed. When urban assistant driving was first available, human takeover was required when reaching this roundabout. So, how are the various vehicles performing now? It's a bit of pity for IML6 and Way Blue Mountain. These 2 cars support roundabout passage, but after entering the roundabout, there was some issue with the route planning. They failed to exit when they should have, were about to miss the exit, so our driver took over. It can be seen that its roundabout function is not yet very stable at present. Only the onvo L60 showed that the assistant driving function was downgraded due to not supporting this type of the road condition when reaching the roundabout.
前向来车发生碰撞风险。
车道巡航已退出。
Actively downgrading at this position does make it easier for the driver to take over. However, the inability to navigate the roundabout is not due to a visual issue, as the xpeng G7, which also uses a visual solution, can pass through roundabouts. Ultimately, out of the 9 vehicles, a total of 6 successfully passed. This is a section of construction road that tests how the vehicle handles the safe distance from other vehicle in the middle of an intersection. The second section of the construction road directly diverts the road, which greatly tests how the vehicle plan its route. Unlike previous situation where construction always leads to downtime, all 9 vehicles pass this time. When seeing a one-way street, some people may wonder, What's so difficult about it that it needs to be tested separately? But in fact, some assistant driving systems may misidentify the left lane as an oncoming lane, causing the vehicle to always stay on the right or requiring takeover. And now, judging from the performance of this 9 vehicle, they can all handle it easily. Choosing national road is, on the one hand, to see if each assistant driving system can properly activate its function on national road section. On the other hand, national roads are typical open roads with highly mixed traffic participants, and some road marking may be blurred due to long-term use, which also tests the system's stability. The performance of the 9 vehicle is not different from that in the city, all being very stable. The Shanghai North Cross Passage, with a total length exceeding 3 kilometers, is a section of road composed of a combination of ground and elevated segments, where there will be challenges in light intensity, placing extremely high demands on sensors. The GPS signal is weak in the underground tunnel section, and the distance to the confluence is also short, requiring the system to make the fastest decision. And friends who start using assistant driving earlier should know that the North Cross Passage is a major area where assistant driving degrades severely. And when it comes to this area, it's as if the magic has failed. Of the 9 vehicles in this test, 7 successfully passed. However, the performance of the onvo could be further optimized. The steering wheel shakes a bit, and the driver's experience is not that good. Both voyah and Xiaomi failed to comply the passage because their route planning led them to the ground.
端到端辅助驾驶已退出。
一直出车。
Our U-turn scenario is still a bit challenging, as it involves making a U-turn at a gap in the middle of the road. Zeekr, BYD, and IM are all successful. Xiaopeng also succeeded, although it wasn't an immediate success. Thanks to its 3-point turn function, it shifted into reverse, yielded to oncoming vehicle from behind, and then successfully completed a U-turn.
Nice.
And voyah, Blue Mountain, and luxeed all needed someone to take over.
接管
Onvo system directly froze, and the driver took over. Xiaomi also failed due to the vehicle length issue. Although it has the 3-point turn function, it still couldn't complete the turn after shifting into reverse on its own.
请立即控制车辆，辅助驾驶已退出。
And the driver had to take over. Tidal lanes remain a challenge for assistant driving. It was found through actual testing that 6 vehicles, BYD, voyah, Blue Mountain, IM, luxeed, and Xiaomi, will choose to take the rightmost lane, which is a lane that is 100% error-free. And zeekr, onvo, and xpeng are slightly bolder and dare to drive in the left variable lane, but it is not a real tidal lane. It can be seen that everyone's understanding of tidal lanes is still immature, and they still avoid driving in them. Sometimes when you reach the parallel auxiliary road and the overpass, you may need to choose on the bridge or under the bridge on the navigation to plan subsequent route. What will the assistant driving system do? After actual testing, it is very familiar with such road conditions and does not require manual selection at all. And this scenario is actually one of the few pain points of Tesla's domestic FSD, as it cannot tell whether you are on the upper or lower lane. If we are the lead vehicle and encounter a red light, for going straight. We can enter the waiting area after taxi sign turns green. This item assesses the recognition of taxi instruction. However, during normal driving, most vehicles either pass through on a green light or are not the lead vehicle. The only two that were randomly selected for inspection were Blue Mountain and Luxeed, neither of which was recognized, but that's normal. The Blue Mountain hasn't been released via yet, so it is understandable if it can't recognize that test. The Luxeed R7 can recognize the waiting area on the ground, but it will not enter it voluntarily even with taxi promote, and only move after the driver presses the accelerator pedal. When we're testing in Suzhou, we pass through this rural road without lane lines, including uphill and downhill sections and underpasses, to see how this vehicle performed. The difficulty of this right turn lies in the lack of lane marking for guidance, blind spot during the turn, and the risk of missing the intersection if not careful. And these are also many obstacles, and after passing through the underpass, it is still a narrow pass that requires another right turn. At the same time, the system needs to quickly identify the intersection and plan a route. Among the 9 vehicles, 5 successfully passed. And let's first take a look at the performance of the Blue Mountain, which has the highest coverage rate. And BYD, zeekr, xpeng, and Xiaomi have absolutely no pressure. The other 4 vehicles have 3 types of reaction to this kind of road. The onvo X60 malfunctions once when encountering oncoming vehicles before entering the underpass.
请控制方向盘，领航开始。
Then reactivate its function after entering the underpass, but still operates in a degraded state. The system will proactively state that the pilot function cannot handle the current scenario.
车道领航无法通过前车道巡航已退出。
Luxeed and voyah using the ADS solution both degrade after entering the bridge tunnel. Voyah downgraded immediately after entering the bridge tunnel, possibly because the speed was too fast.
车道巡航，请注意导航路线。
Luxeed took over because it needed to turn right on the small road when passing through the bridge opening, but had a tendency to go straight. And third tab, the IM. A parked vehicle on the right side illegally occupied the lane, and when encountering oncoming traffic, the system freezes. After the driver takes over and drives past, the function cannot be reactivated, and trying again still fail to activate the function. I know everyone must still be most concerned about how the assistant driving performs. And let's take a look at how many times the driver of each vehicle has taken over. MPI, mean proactive intervention, refers to the average number of kilometers the system travels before requiring a single proactive intervention. The higher this value, the stronger and more stable the system's capabilities. And first, let me clarify, all our rules are specially designed to create a gap and test the ultimate capabilities. Our rules including some high difficulty scenarios, such as Shenzhen Huaqiangbei. In daily life, people actually don't encounter these high difficulty scenarios frequently. Therefore, this set of figures is only for reference. The reasons for takeovers are also divided into several major categories, including safety takeover due to potential collisions, efficiency takeover due to system freezes, violation takeover such as a lane crossing and running red light, as well as takeover due to poor experience, wrong turns, etc. Specific explanation will be provided later. During the 6-city test, the place where all vehicle drivers take over most frequently were in old urban area of Guangzhou and Huaqiangbei in Shenzhen, both of which are area where electric bikes and pedestrians crowd randomly. And let's first look at Huaqiangbei in Shenzhen, the number of intervention for each vehicle. And next, the scene we are showing is the most certain section of Huaqiangbei in Shenzhen. Besides the consistently performing Luxeed R7, Xiaomi has unexpectedly emerged as the most stable player in this scenario. It successfully completed right turn, left turn, and asymmetric straight ahead maneuvers amidst a large number of electric bikes and pedestrians. Other vehicles, to varying degrees, had their drivers take over due to sudden obstacles or psychological stress issue.
A B 干退了。
已退出至手动驾驶。
对，慢慢。
接管卡住卡死。
接管关闭支架。
我勒个狗啊，还编队呢！
Under the same route and similar time, the road conditions are about the same. However, the dynamic obstacles encountered will not be exactly the same, with a bit of luck involved. Whether a vehicle violates traffic regulations is simply due to the system itself. We have computed that main or most special reason for the intervention of the 9 vehicles. The reason for zeekr's intervention is basically crossing the select line. For example, when the vehicle shows an obvious tendency to change lanes by crossing the select line, the driver takes over. A relatively frequent issue with the Blue Mountain is that after turning, it often travels between 2 lanes and takes a few seconds to center itself in the lane. However, since it does not interfere with other vehicles, the driver doesn't take over, but we still recorded this issue. The most outrageous things about BYD Han L is that it directly rammed into the railing of the rainy night in Guangzhou. Onvo need to work harder. The system had mistakenly entered a violation road, such as oncoming lanes, non-motorized lanes, restrict lanes, tidal lanes, a total of 19 times throughout the test. For example, during this right turn, there was nothing to avoid, but it still veered into the non-motorized vehicle lane. Luxeed have very few traffic violations, with only one instance of running a red light and crossing a lane line. But sometimes there are really confusing maneuvers. Clearly, the system has already recognized it as a slight line, yet it still attempts to change lanes and even promote you with about to change lanes on a slight line. The ability of IM to recognize independent traffic lights still need to be strengthened. It failed to see the red light and want to keep going, but was stopped by the driver. Xpeng didn't move after the red light turns green. The Voyah 3 Plus is quite interesting this time. In fact, it has a high efficiency and good perception ability. However, after turning right this time, there were 2 cars parked temporarily in the red lane, and it thought they were queuing to pass.
后左转。
怎么了？卡住了。继续接管，没问题。
On the SR interface, it can be seen that it also had a tendency to detour to the left to pass, but finally decided to queue and wait. The intersection situation of Xiaomi YU7 is extremely shocking. The left turn signal ahead was green, and we originally thought we could pass smoothly. Unexpectedly, there was a hidden red line, and Xiaomi failed to recognize it and tried to run the red line directly, but was taken over by the driver.
端到端辅助驾驶退出。
Therefore, the road conditions in China are still too complex, and the drivers still need to supervisor during the assistant driving phase. Regarding intersection, I'd like to share a set of scenarios that are not included in the overall results. The situation is that all vehicles are about to turn left, but the only left turn lane is occupied by a construction vehicle. So the vehicle has to use the straight line to turn left. For the assistant driving system, this is a task that requires flexibility and adaptability. Since this is a special case with 4 major factors, we will not count the failed vehicle here as a negative result. So, how did everyone perform in this situation? Luxeed R7, zeekr 007 GT, and BYD Han L, all 3 vehicles complete a left turn in the straight lane. The Luxeed R7's system is very interesting. It always wants to enter the left turn lane, but clearly knew that there was a construction vehicle, and in this state of indecision, it completed a left turn from the straight lane. When onvo reaches this road, it manually drives in advance and enters the left turn lane, but cannot reactivate the function after entering. IM and xpeng, on the other hand, left this problem to the driver, with the function degrade and failed to complete a left turn.
领航结束，当前位置 A， 请注意接管。
The Wuning Road Tunnel in Shanghai has large intersections, many branches, and its entrance is not obvious. This location was also carefully selected to ensure that most assistant driving systems cannot accurately identify it. Therefore, among the 9 vehicles in this case, only Blue Mountain, Xiaomi, and BYD Han L successfully drove into the tunnel. The luxeed R7 also failed to make it through. It was supposed to go into the tunnel but end up on the left ground road instead. Finally, I'd like to share some differences in experience. Our drivers, through training, will record some scenarios with poor experiences. However, since these are all personal subjective factors, they are for reference only. We will present some relatively representative or frequently occurring issues, such as those related to xpeng. And the current version, xpeng G7 experience relatively frequent heavy braking and sport braking, especially where there is a potential lateral vehicle intrusion, in which case NGP's response becomes more sensitive. The problem with the Blue Mountain are somewhat similar. The braking does not match human driving, being too abrupt, and there have also been instances of the in-car infotainment system freezing.
这个车机卡死了，我操！
As the first batch of models with the Pilot 300, the point that drivers are dissatisfied with a BYD Han L is that the navigation always changes inexplicably.
即将沿导航变道。
The problems with onvo XCC are a bit exaggerated, mainly including poor lateral experience, indecisive driving, frequent steering wheel jitters, which increase the level of distrust and affect the driving experience. The overall experience of IMLS6 is very smooth, and the poor experience is mainly due to occasional steering wheel jitter or uncomfortable braking. Relatively speaking, the luxeed R7's experience is already quite refined, but drivers feel that its style is too aggressive and it sometimes applied heavy braking. Voyah Freeze Plus problem is also related to driving style. Lane changes are too extreme, and the distance to oncoming vehicles is too close, making the driver very nervous.
上左避让变道。
The reason for Xiaomi can be classified into 2 categories. One is due to braking, and the other is the occasional left-right swaying.
右边，右边，这都在，这个就是。动力要调力学校里的，我操，没有。
去方向盘。
Drivers rate the zeekr 007 GT as excellent. When I previously experienced the G-Pilot H7 of the zeekr 9X, I thought it was truly very flexible, and it seemed that this solution also feels well on the zeekr 007 GT. And that's all for this episode of Urban Assistant Driving. Our materials are truly vast in quantity, and the video production is not easy feat. We hope everyone will give us more likes and follow us. We hope that through such videos, we can help everyone build an understanding of assistant driving capabilities and provide a reference for everyone when buying a car. Regarding the 9-vehicle horizontal comparison evaluation, we will subsequently have a video on high-frequency dangerous scenarios, high-speed pilot tests, intelligent parking, active safety, and other aspects. Of course, you can also leave a message about the vehicle you are most interested in, and we will also bring you a video sharing all aspects for single vehicle. And remember to follow us.